going to go on Farmers Only. That's fine.
That's
like
for farmers only.
Right. It's literally for only farmers. And so I'm not a farmer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not going to be on those apps.
Hey, I'm T.
And I'm Sam.
And we are your well-informed girlfriends.
Bringing you today's news, tips, and unsolicited hot takes.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we're talking about what Trump's executive order about AI means for the rest of us.
Okay.
How Ozempic might be changing people's brains.
Oh.
I know. And whether or not we're in a perma-recession.
Okay. That's a lot.
I know, a lot to dive into.
Okay. And we're also talking about how we actually may have more time than we think.
God willing, right?
Thought was interesting. Also, there's a new type of dating app. Listen to this, drum roll. Dating app based on if you're anti-vax. New type of dating app. We're going to break that down. And we're also going to be talking about why the new horror dating movie, Obsession. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it is speaking to the young people. And we're going to break down why that's happening.
Because dating is a horror?
Potentially.
I believe it. I believe it.
And finally, we're going to be talking about a new dating trend. We love a dating trend here.
Oh, we do.
This one is called wildflowering.
Oh, okay. Excited to hear.
Yeah. We'll fill in the gaps on what you think that is, and then we'll explain later.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We'll dive into that.
Okay, cool. I think we should get into the heavy stuff first and then go.
Yeah, then we'll get more fun as it goes on.
Okay.
So President Trump, the anti-government oversight guy, went from let AI cook to signing executive order this week that asks AI companies to voluntarily give the government up to 30 days to review their new models before they're released to the public.
Yeah.
So that's a major shift because he's been super hands-off before.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the U.S. to stay ahead of China. He was like, let them cook, let them do their thing, and we'll figure it out. Now, people are concerned because AI, as it advances, could expose cybersecurity vulnerabilities or create national security risks.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been, this is all neither here nor there, but there's been this a lot of talk about this Mythos model that allegedly can find a lot of security risks very easily. And the coming Bugmageddon is what they're calling it on social media.
Okay.
Anyways, so major players, including my employer, full disclosure, Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic have publicly supported this order, though some tech leaders are worried it will stymie innovation. But the reviews are voluntary for now, but some AI safety advocates are already pushing for mandatory oversight. And so there's sort of this divide in Silicon Valley and because people want to have innovation happen and they want to see how it goes, but they also want guardrails.
I mean, it's crazy that we haven't had guardrails on AI. I mean, it's developing so quickly. It's changing so rapidly. I mean, he didn't want to do this for the record. To be clear, he didn't want to slow down any sort of progress, but Anthropic came to him and was like, hey, this is actually going too quickly. So we do need some sort of government oversight. And I think it's smart to at least have some sort of division of the government, like the FDA or anybody that does approvals,
right?
And look at it and be like, okay, this can go out to the public. And now, as someone in the public who would want to use AI, there's a part of me that's like, oh, that's annoying because I want to be able to use the latest model. But also, I really do think we need to know if someone would use it in a way that wouldn't be good. You have to run those tests and make sure that the AI isn't going to do something you don't want it to do, and then it gets out of control.
Oh,
so I think government oversight is so needed here. I'm glad that this is finally happening. And it is interesting that it wasn't even the government that it was their idea. It was the AI companies that are like, hey, actually, we need someone to look this over.
Yeah, well, we're sort of barreling towards a cliff, if you will. Not a cliff, that's mean. But we're facing down a bunch of coming changes to the AI industry. And I think it's the smart and responsible way to progress forward.
Yeah.
That said, we can look at the example of the apps and social media. Social media ran largely unchecked for 10, 15 years.
Right.
We've seen a ton of impact on Americans and people worldwide, frankly, on how it changed the way young people see themselves and interact with others. And, it was all unchecked. And so I don't necessarily, I want the government to do a good job of checking this. You know what I mean? It's hard to say whether or not they will, but I think it's for the best.
At least they're talking about hey, let's have a little bit of regulation around that. And also it's you do look at different countries are using AI in such different ways. China is they're using it as utility. That's China's AI evolution looks like they're trying to make things easier for
more
the public.
robotics.
Yeah, because there's not as many people. There's an aging demographic, whatever. It's all like different things happening there. But here we're like, oh, like can it get rid of like entry level jobs?
Yeah, knowledge work replacement.
Yeah, it's different.
So it has been different. Yeah, and I mean some of that is to do with the way China's economy is set up, and what is and is not easy to create in the U.S. But yes, it is different for sure. I think it'll be interesting to see how it progresses, and I think it's for the best, but TBD.
Totally. I'm pro oversight.
Yeah, same, generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
I'm sure there are caveats.
Yeah, no, but for AI, and I mean, if you think about the FDA and, we do need the Food and Drug Administration to look over things before it gets into the public. It feels like the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And it's shocking that social media slid by for as long as it did without ever being checked. Like, I know, because it does have mental health risks and implications that we just
for sure.
We're like, oh, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Yeah, full send.
Yeah. Okay, this next story is interesting.
Yes. Okay, what if Ozempic isn't just changing your body, but also your brain?
Okay.
New research is suggesting that GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, and the like, they may be doing a lot more than suppressing your appetite. The Washington Post reports that scientists are finding evidence that these medications could be affecting your brain circuits that are tied to attention, reward, addiction, motivation, even emotion.
Okay.
Some users are reporting benefits like less anxiety, fewer cravings, and reduced interest in alcohol. Others are describing brain fog and emotional flattening, but like a lot of people are saying the first. They don't yet know exactly why this is happening or whether the drugs are acting directly on the brain, but with tens of millions of people taking them, we're kind of seeing one of the biggest unplanned neuroscience experiments in modern medicine. We're just going to find out what happens.
Yeah, wow. That is interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of studies about Ozempic helping people with addiction.
Yeah.
People like it helping them. So I don't know. It is interesting. I think this is really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, so I've taken a GLP-1 before. I'm currently on Wegovy, the pill version.
Okay.
Just to overshare with our viewers.
Yeah, as you should.
I haven't noticed an emotional flattening or lower sex drive, but I will say when I was on the injections, I had brain fog.
Okay.
But like, I almost never drink anymore. Not that I drank a lot to begin with. I'm not a big boozer, but it's really hard to drink too because it makes you nauseous immediately. So I could definitely see how that would work if you were having a problem with alcohol. Like that's a good way to get off of it for sure.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, wow. Well, the good news on the Ozempic front.
Good news on the Ozempic front for sure. All right. What's this next story?
Okay, this next story is evidently America has moved away from a vibe session. And now we're moving into what people are calling a permacession.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Let's break it down.
Okay.
So a recent Atlantic article argues that America has moved away from this so-called vibe session to what they're calling a permacession.
Okay.
Basically, a lot of these traditional economic indicators don't look terrible, right?
Yeah.
Like unemployment is relatively low. The stock market has been strong, and economists keep telling us that the economy is actually doing okay. But when you ask actual people how they feel, vibes aren't super high.
Yeah, the vibes are off for sure.
Yeah, and so consumer sentiment is near historic lows, which is interesting and a total juxtaposition to what I just said. And many Americans say that they feel worse about their finances than they did a few years ago. So the article argues that this isn't just a temporary mood anymore. It's actually becoming a permanent feeling that life is getting more expensive, harder to get ahead, and less predictable, which I think we've kind of felt for a long time, but I think we had hope for a minute, and now it's feeling harder to feel that hope.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just think about it. Here, I'll break down like what is actually happening here.
Yeah.
Housing, obviously, especially if you live in a big city. We live in LA.
Yeah.
Housing feels unaffordable. Groceries are so expensive.
Oh my God.
I went to Whole Foods yesterday. Just a single girly pop for the week is like $80. I'm like, how?
How?
And I am not like a snacker. I'm not doing anything crazy. These are essentials.
You're buying like meat, vegetables, normal
things.
That
was it. Yeah. I said, huh? Going out is so expensive.
Oh my God. A single drink is $20.
Yeah. Again, these things are heightened because we're in LA, but I think it's true everywhere.
Oh yeah. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina last week and it was
the same.
$18.
Yeah.
Not that much cheaper.
Right. And a lot of people feel that they're working hard without getting meaningfully ahead, which is another thing.
Yes.
So maybe that's why so many people are confused when they hear the economy's doing great, but you're like, but wait, I don't feel that in my own financial situation. Because most people don't experience the economy through these GDP charts, honestly.
Yeah.
They experience it through things like rent, groceries, childcare, student loans, and whether they can actually afford a vacation. Right? That's when you feel like, oh, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? Those are the gauges.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think about this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I agree. I think there are two things happening here. One is that we all live online and like the algorithm rewards negative stories like this. And I mean, frankly, we're kind of contributing. But I agree with the fact that this is what it feels like. I used to go out in Columbia, Missouri when we were in college, and you could get a drink, like a beer for $3, $4.
Yeah.
And now you can't even get a beer for like under $9 in LA.
Yeah.
I don't drink beer anymore, but you get what I'm saying. Everything feels more expensive. And I feel like I was working so hard my whole life to get to a level where I could just like chill and not worry about money anymore. And the fact of the matter is I've yet to get there, and I'm turning 35 this summer.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same way. I just feel like the goalposts continue to change.
Yeah.
You know, you see like, I used to like look and scroll on like Zillow and Redfin, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Like in a few years, like maybe I could like put it down. And that's like, no, the goalpost has changed. And if you look today, you're like, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. You know, it's just like, it's crazy. It's wild.
It's so wild. And it just feels like we bought into that idea that if you worked really hard, you went to college, you got a good job.
Yeah.
You would be able to, at the very least, afford your groceries and buy a house and have 1 to 2 children.
Yeah.
And now I feel, I mean, maybe people in the US, like across the US don't feel this, but I do feel like the coastal cities or like the people in downtown Chicago or whatever, like I don't feel like that is a very feasible goal for me. I'm going to have to work really hard and hustle and work multiple jobs. And we do work multiple jobs.
Do, yeah.
Like even though we have full-time jobs, you know, and that's just, it's tough to make it. I think there are more people trying to make it. And yeah, I don't know. I want it to be better. I want the vibes to be better, you guys.
And you know what? We're going to just keep trying to say vibes are high, and then maybe it'll change things.
I love that. We're manifesting the vibes being high.
Yeah,
if I tell myself they're high, then they're high.
Exactly.
Okay, excellent. I love that.
And honestly, also, if you're in the stock market, like stocks do look good.
The stocks do look good.
Whether we're in a bubble or not, the story keeps changing on that every single day. But
yeah,
I mean, if you're invested in the stock market, you can feel a little hopeful about that, maybe.
I mean, listen, look at your 401k if you're feeling down. Maybe not like today. I think they were historic lows like on Friday. But you know, a few weeks from now, just look at your 401k and feel better.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this next story I have to talk about.
I am dying to talk about
this. So it's crazy. You know, just when you thought you've seen it all, there's a new dating app on the scene, and this one is just for people who are, drumroll, anti-vaccine. Yes, a recent Wired article looked at the rise of anti-vaccine dating apps, and they are now expanding into real-life singles events. So these are apps with names like Unjected, clever, and pureblood.dating. Okay, that were created specifically for people who don't want to date someone who is vaccinated.
Okay.
And now they're taking things offline by hosting these mixers and dating events around the country. The founders say that it's about people finding other people who share the same values and beliefs.
Okay.
But critics are saying it's promoting misinformation and turning public health into a dating filter. I don't know. What do you think about this? To be honest, obviously when I've dated anybody been like worried about if they had the measles shot. Like,
yeah, no, that didn't even like occur to me when I was dating.
But I will say during the pandemic, that was a factor. Like if I was going on dates with guys and they weren't vaccinated, I'd be like, huh, why? Just
you would still go on the date though. Yeah.
I think one time I went on a date and learned quickly into the date he wasn't vaccinated. And then it was like a big like, oh, we're like thinking about things totally differently.
Compatibility wise, not sure it's there. But
yeah, what do you think about this?
Okay, here's the thing. And this is a hot take, so get ready. But I'm fine with the self-selection. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Here's the thing. When you are on a major, like a Hinge or a Bumble or whatever, if anyone who's watching has done this or listening has had to be on one of these apps, you are always filtering based on your preferences. So like if you are a conservative, for example, as a like millennial woman who is not, I would probably just automatically rule you out.
Yeah.
So if you are self-selecting yourself out of there, and joining another app, like,
Yeah.
you know, a Farmers Only. I'm not going to go on Farmers Only. That's fine.
That's
like,
for farmers only.
Right. It's literally for only farmers. And so I'm not a farmer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not going to be on those apps. And so if that saves me from having to sift through, to be clear, I'm married. But if it saves in theoretical me from having to go through all of these apps, all of these people.
Right.
It's like, all right, you're making it better for everybody on the main apps, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of my hot take. What do you think?
Guess. No, I mean, I think, honestly, yeah, I do agree with that. I do think self-selection's fine. I do think, you know, when critics are worried about like a bunch of anti-vax people getting together and like making misinformation, it's like they could technically do that in either way. Like that could happen regardless.
I mean,
of
they're
making
just
a
on
dating
Twitter
app.
doing that anyhow. And like
Anyway.
realistically, if they all get measles and they spread it to each other, then like survival of the fittest, my guy. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's the same thing. But this also kind of ties into our next story.
Oh yeah, it kind of does.
Okay.
So basically, what's happening is Florida is essentially creating a conservative version of college.
Okay.
This new Washington Post article looked at the University of Florida, where state leaders have poured tens of millions of dollars into a new school that's focused on Western civilization, America's founding, and civic education.
Okay.
Simultaneously, they are getting rid of courses on topics like race, gender, and equality from the state's general education requirements.
Oh my God.
So supporters are saying this is a necessary correction to what they see as that liberal bias on college campuses, while critics are arguing it's replacing one worldview with another, narrowing students' exposure to diverse perspectives. So anyways, that's all in the Washington Post. I thought that was really interesting, and I was curious to hear your take.
I think this, to me, as someone who's very liberal, this sounds horrific. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, how could you get rid of topics and classes around race and gender and inequality in America when that is like such a part of America's story?
Yeah.
Right? Like that, what? Like, how are you just going to erase things that have happened? I mean, even just like having it as an option, you know, you don't have to, it's not a mandatory course. You don't have to take this course on inequality in America and like how we've evolved and whatever. But like, I feel like if you don't talk about that, you miss so much of the history of how we've gotten to where we've gotten. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree. I think it's sort of this knee-jerk reaction to how academia has sort of been the front lines of this sort of culture war that everybody talks about and where that's happened. That said, and I thought actually the president of Mizzou put this pretty well when we were at an event recently. He said, our goal is to educate, not indoctrinate. And I grimaced when he said it because I didn't necessarily understand what he was trying to say at the time. But in hindsight, I think that giving people diverse perspectives and letting them come to their own conclusions is probably the best way to educate someone. And I do think most universities are trying to do that. The fact that people look at them as like this woke machine that's indoctrinating people into believing that, you know, racism exists or whatever. Like, I think it's because they're looking at the facts and arriving at the conclusion that it does. And so to remove half of the information, to remove all of that, and to instead just indoctrinate people in believing that America's founding is like the greatest thing that ever happened and Western civilization is the corner of globalization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is actually more indoctrination, I think, than a regular liberal education. Right.
I mean, I do get.
And by liberal education, I just mean like liberal arts, not liberal Democrat liberal.
No, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I think either way you spin it, educating people is hard, right? Like picking what you want to have the next generation know, understand, you know, participate in. I do see how it can be difficult, but I think you have to give people options. You have to, you know, and provide a wide swath of opportunity for people to learn a bunch of things, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I should be honest here. I have a multicultural certificate from the University of Missouri. Like I literally studied a lot of these things. And I think what I want to point out is that at no point, and this was just my experience at Mizzou, but like I think in general, at no point were they like, you know, critical race theory, X, Y, and Z must be true, blah, blah, blah. They were like, here is what critical race theory is. They never said you have to believe everything like this.
Right.
And I think that that's what a lot of people don't understand about liberal arts colleges or just college in general is that you are there to learn diverse perspectives and to come up and
with your own
conclusion, and to leave a more well-rounded person.
Yeah.
You might not believe in Buddhism or whatever, you know, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that's wildly overlooked when people like argue that colleges are too woke or whatever. It's like, no, they just came to that conclusion on their own.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Whatever.
Very interesting. Okay, so this next story I want to talk about.
Yes, I'm so interested.
Okay, so Vox published a piece this week about time scarcity. And you might actually, as it turns out, have more time than you think you do. So a lot of us think we have these busy lives. We think we don't have enough free time to do anything at all, but it turns out we might be wrong. We all say we're busier than ever. We don't have time to read, start a hobby, do the things and say the things we want to do anymore. But according to the time management expert, Laura Vanderkam, we may actually have more free time than we think. So one surprising stat that they talked about in this piece was that Americans today work significantly fewer hours than our great-grandparents did, which I thought was crazy. So listen to this.
That's wild.
In the 1920s, the average worker put in around 2,300 hours per year. Today, we are working closer to 1,750 hours. So that's like, I don't know, I don't do math, 500 hours less or something like that.
Sure.
Anyways, we're working less hours, okay? Yet somehow, many of us feel more time-starved than ever. This time expert, she's arguing that it is often we have this time scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
We constantly feel like we don't have enough time, even when small pockets of free time are available throughout the day. We just feel like we don't have enough time to actually sit down and do something. So the solution, she is recommending people start tracking their time for a week, because people often just are shocked to discover that they do have these hours where they don't actually fill it with anything. And of course,
it's your phone.
We can't avoid the elephant in the room. We all have these phones in our hands.
Yeah.
We have 20 minutes of time, and we're like, instead of opening a book, instead of journaling, instead of thinking about a new task, we look at our phone and we say, this will do.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big part of it. She also says that people start overlooking a part of their day called golden hours. Those are those few hours between the end of the workday and bedtime. So think about it. Like, you get home from work, and I feel like a lot of us do this. We feel exhausted. We're like, all I want to do is lay horizontal.
Yeah.
And like
yes.
reset my brain and my body, and like maybe look at my phone.
Yes.
But she says if you actually start utilizing those golden hours of the day, if you start planning those hours, it's 5 or 6 hours, right? Sometimes. And like, we really could start utilizing that time in a meaningful way. So if you've been feeling like you don't have enough time, we have a challenge that you can try. Okay. So this new time management expert created something called the Evening Hours Challenge. Okay. So the idea is simple. For 1 week, intentionally set aside 30 to 60 minutes each evening for an activity that's not work, household, errands, scrolling, or basic life maintenance. So it could be reading a book, it could be learning a language, taking a walk, trying a new workout class, calling a friend, even going to dinner, working on a creative project. The activity itself doesn't matter. Yeah. But the point is that you're actively choosing how to spend that hour instead of defaulting to whatever happens to fill the time, like scrolling. The point is just to really be intentional about those golden hours of the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah. So people who have actually done this have reported feeling happier about their evenings and feeling like they've had more time overall, which is interesting because they didn't create more time, right? They just became more intentional with the time that they already had.
That's so smart.
So that is the challenge for the week. If you're feeling stuck in your evenings, we're going to start doing this evening hours challenge where you are utilizing your golden hours of the day, that time between work and bedtime. You're going to start actually taking time to be intentional and do something different every night.
Yeah. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
You can even put your phone in focus mode or whatever, or do not disturb so that the alerts don't come through.
I'm anti-phone. I don't even think you should have your phone in the room with you.
Yeah. Or just, go plug it in or turn it off somewhere
My
else.
big thing, and maybe it's just because I have ADHD, but my whole thing is if my phone is near me and by me, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about it subconsciously. I talk about this all the time. This is the 700th time you'll hear me say this, but I do think it's true. If you put your phone in another room or in a bag or in a drawer, it really, truly makes the biggest difference in your focus and what you can get done. It's amazing. My new thing is I have a phone home, which is a plastic box that I'll put it in, which is good.
We have
but my new thing is I even put my phone in my phone home and I put it in a cabinet.
Oh, wow.
And then it's out of sight, out of mind.
I was going to say, we struggle with object permanence too. So that's perfect.
Totally. Like it's so nice for me. And I have to say it's such a relief for my brain because I'm like, okay, great. What do I want to do in this space? Do I want to go on a walk? It really helps you check in with yourself instead of being like looking for like, I feel like sometimes when I don't have anything to do, I'll turn to my phone as a way of being like, what should I do next? You know, like, what do I want to focus on? And it's like, that is what you focus on. So I think it's huge. It makes a big difference. But anyways, we're going to start doing that. We're going to start doing evening hours challenges and we'll check in on how that goes. And if you do that too, let us know.
Yeah, please report back. If it is working for you, I'm so curious. Okay, amazing. Okay. What is this next story about?
Okay. So Obsession has taken the box office by storm. It's this new horror thriller movie. And I mean, Universal actually extended its release.
That's crazy. Which that never happens.
But
not in the modern era.
It's because it's been so incredibly popular and it's gotten more popular as time has gone on. I have to say I saw it this past week and it's great. It's really well done. Before we get into even what the story is about, I have to say it was so impressive to see. This was such a low budget. They had a budget of like $700,000.
Wow, that's
crazy.
They've
made almost $100 million in the box office so far, and it just keeps climbing. And I have to say, for people that work in entertainment, it's really satisfying to see somebody. And this is like Curry Baker. This is one of his first big projects, the writer-director.
Yeah.
And the way that he actually got this made, which I think this is interesting. And so I'll talk about it. And inspiring. He was working on set for like years and like had met a producer, had this script, this Obsession script. Yeah. And he, I think, gave it to the producer and like the producer never read it, you know? And then they worked on a project maybe 6 months later and he was like, please read my script. It's so good. She finally sat down, read it and was like, okay, this is good. I will help you make this. And that is how the movie came to be. That's the origin story of this Obsession movie.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's like, if you have something you're passionate about, keep shooting your shot.
Yeah,
please,
get yourself
because then
in the
you
room.
Get these really big opportunities. And then, anyways, so all of that is to say, this movie has been really, I think, it's been not a turning point, but I think people have thought this is really interesting because it kind of touches on things that are going on in the modern dating world. So this recent Atlantic article looked at why this new horror movie Obsession is resonating so much in young people right now. The premise, you haven't seen it yet, but the premise basically, and this doesn't give anything away, but a guy has this huge crush on his friend, who is a girl, but he is too afraid to tell her how he actually feels.
Okay.
He can't do it. It's like, he'd rather do anything else. Okay. So instead of risking rejection, he uses this magical object to make her fall in love with him. And then the whole movie is about her being obsessed with him. So obviously things go terribly wrong. The article argues that this real life horror movie isn't just about the magic.
Okay.
It's about vulnerability.
That makes sense.
So the movie really taps into this very modern fear, like having an uncomfortable conversation, being honest about your feelings, and not being able to control the outcome, which I think is very Gen Z, very millennial.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, we text instead of call now. We analyze Instagram stories. We soft launch relationships. We spend weeks decoding signals instead of just like asking like, what is going on with us?
Right. Yeah. The defining the relationship combo is a whole thing we're afraid of.
I'd rather throw up. You know?
Exactly. Like, we're so afraid of like being vulnerable with anyone.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy because I will tell you my deepest, darkest fear just on the street. I can't relate at all. But like, I do think that when you're dating, it's so heightened. It's so scary.
So scary.
You could blow up your whole life. Who knew? You know?
No, I think so. Anyways, they talked about this Atlantic piece talks about how I think people are resonating so much with this movie because it does tap into that idea of like these vulnerability, these conversations are hard to have. And so, you know, having the idea of having this magic stick and being like, I don't even have to ask the question. She's just going to be obsessed with me. So I thought it was really interesting. But I wonder if it's like now we have a harder time having these conversations like than previous generations, or maybe because of like the landscape we live in with social media, with the dating apps, maybe that makes it feel harder. I don't know what it is, but I will admit like those conversations are really hard to have. I have a really tough time being like, what are we? You know, like I do understand the vulnerability piece of it all.
Oh, I totally do. And I have to say, I was listening to this TikTok the other day. This girl was talking about how oftentimes Americans say one thing and mean another.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case everywhere or all the time, obviously. And I am such a straight shooter. I'll tell it to you like it is.
Yeah.
No matter what. And I very rarely, honestly, have an ulterior motive. If I have a motive, I'm just going to tell you what the motive is.
Yeah.
But like she was explaining that in her interactions, especially in dating, this girl was in New York City, especially in dating, she would like often have these interactions with men where they would be like purportedly doing something, but then really mean another.
Right.
There was sort of like this dual meaning in every conversation she was having. And she's like, I don't know if all Americans are like this or what the deal is, but like having that pointed out to me did make me realize I think that happens a lot in dating.
Yeah.
People might say that they're interested in being in an exclusive relationship, but actually not be. And like, you know, who among us hasn't maybe exaggerated the truth a little bit? Like, to be on a more successful date.
Right.
But at the same time, you're only shooting yourself in the foot. And I think that we run into that a lot in the dating scene these days.
Yeah, I agree. So watch the movie if you haven't seen it already. It's got an extended theatrical release, so you have the opportunity to see it.
I'm excited. All right, I'll check it out.
Okay, now this is very exciting. We're doing something new this week. We're trying it out. Because we are the well-informed girlfriends, we want to be well-informed in everything. And we are going to start doing just a little sports segment. Because sports have been so good and interesting lately, especially with the NBA Finals. So we are going to do a little segment we're calling the Sports TLDR segment. It is basically your weekly guide to the one sports story everybody will be talking about, whether you watch sports or not.
Yes, exactly.
We have to talk about the NBA Finals matchup between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs, because even if you don't know basketball, this has been such a fun series to watch. I'll tell you why. First of all, the New York Knicks haven't won an NBA championship since 1973. That's 53 years ago. They haven't even been to the finals in nearly 3 decades. So if they win, this would be one of the biggest sports stories of the year. And fans have been going crazy, filling the streets in New York and celebrating. It has been truly so fun to watch. Then on the other side, you have the Spurs led by Victor Wembanyama. And if you've heard that name before, it's because he came into the NBA with a level of hype that people haven't seen really since like LeBron James. Victor is 7'3", which is already insane, honestly. But what makes him so special as a player isn't just how tall he is, it's also the way he plays. Like he plays like someone who's 6'3". He moves like a guard, he can shoot and dribble, defend. Basically all the things someone that tall is not really supposed to be able to do. And that's why people love him. Also, basketball people genuinely think he could probably be one of the greatest players ever. So this finals matchup is kind of perfect. You have the Knicks trying to end a 53-year championship drought, and the Spurs trying to launch what could be the next great dynasty around the future face of the league. And right now, the Knicks are up 2-0, which is a huge advantage. And as if what's happening on the court isn't interesting enough, I have to say the courtside stories have been just as epic. Celebrities have been showing up to the games in droves. Most notably, Timothée Chalamet has somehow become the unofficial mascot of the New York Knicks. He's been at game after game, flying around the country to watch them, celebrating courtside. Obviously, he's from New York, so this has been a big deal for him. And of course, he doesn't come alone. He's also been bringing his girlfriend, Kylie Jenner, to a lot of the games, and they have had some of the cutest courtside views. She's been bringing her digital camera. It's been just cuteness overload. And then wait, there's more. Knicks star player Karl Anthony Towns is engaged to Kylie's former best friend, Jordan Woods. So she's been at all of the games as well. They've been having these cute BFF reunions. It's too much, honestly. Maybe nature's healing. Anyways, that has been your sports TLDR. Okay, and now we're getting into our last segment, last story of the day. What is it?
Yes, okay, so you know we love a dating trend.
Oh, we do.
The latest dating trend sparking online conversation is called wildflowering.
Okay.
And unlike other viral dating terms of the last decade, it's been surprisingly wholesome. We love to see it. Okay, so basically the concept is rather than sticking to your prescribed relationship path, first date, dating, defining the relationship, being exclusive.
Yeah.
Wildflowering encourages people to tune in to feel what's best for them and their partner. So at its core, it's more about figuring out who you are, what you want, and free from that external timeline that everyone else is operating on.
Okay.
So basically, it's kind of the opposite of defining the relationship, and you're not holding like yourself to a specific schedule or any ultimatum, and you're just kind of letting it unfold organically.
Okay.
So
I kind of love this.
I kind of like it.
It's kind of fun. I do think if this gets into too much ambiguity, I get anxious. But I do think wildflowering is cute because it's kind of like, whatever, no pressure, no stress. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this unfolds. Let's see if we can be wildflowers together.
Yeah, I love it. And it's like, it's a more wholesome way of approaching dating rather than being stressed about like, your biological clock or whatever it is we're thinking about.
Totally.
And if somebody else is matching that vibe too, I think that tells me that you guys are meant to be together. Right?
I love it. Yeah. Okay, great.
We love it.
This has been such a fun week. We love you all so much. If you could like and subscribe, it would help us out a ton.
Yeah. Tell all your friends about us and leave us some comments. Let us know what you want to hear about. Any sports you want us to take a deep dive in.
Ooh, sports deep dive.
And we're going to leave you on this viral AI song that I've been obsessed with all week. Bye.
Bye.